Camp Blood.
Camp Blood cost me £100 and I want that coin back right now. So it starts with two bird spotters in the woods who get killed by someone wearing a cheap clown mask, which is supposed to be intense and scary, but it's not. Oh, great titles, made in 1999, yet it looks and feels like it's from the early 70s. How strange. We're then introduced to a couple called Steve and Trish moaning about not being in a stable relationship, so decide to take a few days away camping to sort things out. Now they go away with two annoying twats called Jay and Nicole, and Jay always moans at his girlfriend for chewing gum, yet it's okay for him to smoke and swear all the time, which is really annoying after the first, say, 300 times that he does it.
Motherfucker! Where the fuck did you learn how to drive, huh? Don't give me that, you stupid son of a bitch! I'll fucking run your ass off the fucking road!
And he talks on his phone whilst driving, so if anybody actually knows this actor, please report him to the police for breaking the law. And that's for making the shittest film ever, not driving whilst using his phone. Meanwhile, two idiotic hunters are in the woods drinking some homemade booze, and they stumble across the girl from the start, and then they're killed by the killer clown. Now that fat blob got his head chopped off, yet his head has miraculously lost a few pounds there. How is that his head? Where's his three chins gone to? I wonder if the people in this film are embarrassed, even if it is to help out a few friends to make a crappy low budget film. How did it even get a DVD release, and how much money did these morons make? Hey, maybe they're like really famous in their hometowns and are worshipped every Sunday like fake gods. So while driving along, they spot a retarded man dancing along the road who fakes a heart attack. Yeah, really, what's that all about? His acting is priceless, and he sounds like he's been smoking about 20 cigars a day.
You don't listen too good, do you, boy? You and your friends don't want to go to Camp Blood.
Camp Blood. Brilliant. Look at those goons. They're laughing and looking towards the camera. And he does it several times. It's not like he does it just the once. Slacker. Ed Wood and Uwe Boll could only dream of making shite like this. Actually, no, sod that. Nobody could dream of making crap like this. It just shouldn't exist. Why does the DVD say 86 minutes? It actually lasts 73. But I'm glad it's wrong because 86 minutes would be extremely painful. I'd rather sit there for 73 minutes with my mouth wide open, drooling onto the floor to see how much saliva would pile up. More entertaining than watching this rubbish. What's with the weird sepia and blue filters on certain scenes? It's like Battlefield Earth. There's also some nice little transitions in there, which is also like Battlefield Earth. But this was made a whole year before Battlefield Earth, so maybe the makers of Battlefield Earth were actually the makers of Camp Blood, and they wanted to keep putting in their lovely screen wipes and weird filter colours. Assholes. So they find their guide in the woods and try to rugby tackle her for some reason, but she ends up kicking Steve's ass. Now this guide is called Harris, if anyone cares. I don't.
I wanted to get a feel for the place, you know? It's been a long time since I've been out here.
So if it's a long time since she's been out there, why is she being hired as a guide? And on that note, why do you need a guide when you're camping at a legitimate camping spot which is already mapped out? So the guided tour begins, and her first task is to assist Nicole down this steep embankment. You see that? That's apparently climbing down this steep embankment, and holding on to her arm for 2 seconds is obviously expert assistance. Well done, Harris. Now the group moan endlessly about the guide's attitude, liking her to Hitler for some reason, and repeatedly try to delve into the mystery of why the camp is named Camp Blood, and why some clown goes around killing people. Here's an interesting thought. People are being killed in the campsite you're going to. Local rednecks warn you about the place. Your guide is a mental case, and the place you're going to is called Camp Blood. Not to mention the fact that you read that very morning about the gruesome deaths of 4 people. So why the hell do you decide to go camping there? For fun? What? The editing in this film is extraordinarily bad. Check this out. Steve spots a rope swing and he decides to have a go. Now, you expect something to happen, but no, it's just a random pointless moment patched up with point of view shots of him swinging back and forth. Or around in circles according to this point of view shot. And then for some reason we see a clown in the woods, and then it goes on to something else. It doesn't make any sense, but that's why Camp Blood is worth watching, because it truly is amateur filmmaking at its worst, and for that reason it's comedy gold. And just for the sake of being random, here's me on a Tarzan swing, hoping that this will land me a starring role in Camp Blood 2. Steve is trying to make up a little campfire which keeps falling down or being knocked down, and every different cut in the movie seems to make the logs change size and whatnot, and they even try to cook food over it without a fire being lit. How stupid are these people? Oh boy, that is amazing, let's see that again. One match thrown onto a few logs sends it up in flames in less than a second. Jesus Christ, this is horrifying. Bad editing too, but I don't think anybody will notice. Sitting around the magical campfire telling ghost stories is up next, and before too long it gets to Harris telling the story about the clown, which is appalling. Every time the camera is on a different person, the sound changes quality. Check this out.
Yeah, that's the one. I love that one.
About the clown.
What?
You heard the one about the clown, haven't you?
So Harris begins to tell the story, but then she falls silent and we see a laughable, confusing backstory minus any dialogue. So what's going on? Is Harris just sitting there by the campfire in silence while everyone just stares at her? What's happening? And the best part is, when it cuts back to Harris's face, you can barely see her mouth moving. But when you do, it's not even in sync with what she's saying. Perhaps the original scripted dialogue was so bad they actually overdubbed it, but what you hear isn't even Oscar-winning material. But what does Steve think to this story?
Good story, Harris.
Oh yeah, good story, Harris. Yeah, really well told. It's so unintentionally funny, yet there'll be times when you're watching this and you'll be bored out of your mind or sometimes confused about the plot, but most times you'll be laughing uncontrollably.
Yeah.
Or you may slip into some kind of coma and die. The next morning everybody wakes up and sees a lifelike burnt paper mache body of Harris.
It was the clown!
Oh yeah, obviously the clown, that was my first thought. So after they've all had their chance to shine at their inability to act, they go for a walk and suddenly Nicole stubs her foot on a tree branch. All she did was stub her toe, but despite wearing strong walking boots that probably cost an arm and a leg, she strangely acquires this inability to walk at all. But before you've got time to laugh at this, the clown appears from nowhere, so Steve steps up to be the hero.
Bring it on. Come back here, you son of a bitch!
Why would you run after an obvious psychotic person who's got a machete when you're lost in the woods and you're trying to escape? So Steve and the clown engage in the most pathetic fight sequence I've ever seen, where all they do is run around in circles in the same rocky area for what seems like a lifetime, trying to avoid running into the tit who's holding the camera. The sound effects also need mentioning. The machete makes the same noise when it hits a rock, Steve's arm or head, or just nothing at all. Maybe the killer's got one of those electronic toys where you press a button and it makes a different sound, so every time he swings his machete he can press a button, thus controlling what sound it makes, but I think he's only got the one sound effect, unfortunately. Please know, I've not edited this at all to make it look shit or completely random. This is how it actually is in the film. What the fuck happened there? Slow motion to drill home the sheer excellence we're witnessing. My arse. So Steve's work in his epic tale is now over, thankfully. Okay, cut. Cut. Oh, thank you. Couldn't they milk it anymore? So the clown returns to carry Nicole away, and just look at her boyfriend's gallant efforts to save her.
No! No!
Lying on the floor shouting no. That's lame. He runs after them, but then stops in the middle of nowhere so he can start walking around and around and around on the same spot, while we see blurred clips of the clown running towards camera. Oh no, what's going to happen here? Yep, the clown turns into Nicole, who gets stabbed and dies. Obviously. Now the clown walks up to him, which sends him into a fit of laughter, and he gets his neck snapped. Okay. So Trish runs away and bumps into the slack-jawed yokel from the beginning, who turns out he's in cahoots with the clown. Trish looks like a frog, don't you think? So she runs around the car playing a game of Catch Me If You Can before falling over. And get this, her hand must be made of steel. Brilliant. What a death cry that is. Everyone should make that sound when they die. But why doesn't the clown ever make a sound? Even when Trish rams her fingers into his eyes, he doesn't make a sound. Oh, I know, it must be Bela Lugosi's ghost from Plan 9 from Outer Space.
She's right ahead of you!
Yeah, no shit, do you think he's blind or something? How ridiculous is that part? Well, it's not ridiculous compared to this moment. Seriously, what was anyone involved in this film thinking? Just have the bad guy run over and we'll stuff loads of old clothes up with paper like making a Guy Fawkes at Halloween and put on a balloon head which will fall off when the car hits it, but nobody will notice because nobody will likely watch this pile of shit apart from people who've got nothing better to do than watch shit films. So who's the clown anyway? Harris! Oh, and if you care at all, the film ends with Trish getting locked up in a mental place, I assume, and visited by a doctor, a nurse and a cop, who were funnily enough all played by some familiar looking faces due to budget restraints and the fact that nobody else wanted to be associated with this garbage. It's bollocks, yeah? 1 out of 10.